Okay, we're going to talk about The Release, Golf's Moment of Truth by Jim Hardy. Jim Hardy wrote a number of books: The Plain Truth for Golfers, 2005, The Plain Truth for Golfers Masterclass, 2008, a book called Solid Contact in 2012, and then this latest book called The Release, Golf's Moment of Truth in 2016. Today we'll look at The Release, Golf's Moment of Truth by Jim Hardy, and the book is available at Amazon.com. Jim Hardy and Chris O'Connell explain the differences between the one-plane swing and the two-plane swing in their early teachings. In this book, they describe two types of release, which they called RIT and LOP. And you can see the Plain Truth video channel on YouTube for some of their early information on the one-plane and two-plane swings. So what does RIT stand for? It stands for Right Arm Inward Throw. In the RIT release, the right arm drops during the early downswing. The right wrist throws as it moves from extension to flexion. The left arm stays pretty close to the body on the downswing, and the swing path is inside, back to square at impact, and then back to inside. The club swings left after impact as the right wrist flexes without the forearms rolling over. He emphasizes that many times. And the club exits the body lower compared to the LOP release. Halfway down in the backswing, the right elbow is near the seam of the shirt on the right side and really not out in front of the abdomen. In golf swing terminology, this would be called a push position. The club face is more closed at P6 compared to the LOP release, and the shaft aligns with the right elbow approaching impact. The RIT release has a lower rate of closure of the club face through impact and tends to lead to straighter shots. So there's less opening and closing of that club face through impact, more stability of the club through impact. Matt Kuchar is a one-plane swinger who uses the RIT release. LOP stands for Left Arm Outward Pull. In the LOP release, the club face is slightly open at P6. So then the forearms must roll over to square up the face. As the forearms roll over, the club face has a higher rate of closure compared to the RIT swing, moving from open to closed in a shorter period of time. The ball flight tends to curve more with the LOP release, either from right to left or left to right, depending on if the face is closed or open compared to the club path at the time of impact. The right elbow in the downswing is more in front of the abdomen in the LOP release, kind of what they would call a pitch position in golf machine terminology, and the club exits the body higher with the LOP swing compared to the RIT release. Ernie Els is a two-plane swinger who uses the LOP release. So here's Matt Kuchar at address. He's a one-plane swinger and an RIT release player. Matt Kuchar is at the top of his backswing. He's a one-plane swinger with the left arm just under the shoulder plane. Matt Kuchar is in his downswing. The right elbow is staying close to the seam of the shirt on the right side of the body and is not moving in front of the abdomen. Here's Matt Kuchar at impact. The left arm is close to the body, and the right wrist is going from extension to flexion. Matt Kuchar is flexing his right wrist and extending his left wrist without rolling over the forearms. The club exits low and left. Now here's Ernie Els at address. Ernie's a two-plane swinger who uses the LPO release. Here's Ernie at the top of his backswing. You can see his left arm is above the shoulder plane because he's a two-plane swinger. Ernie's right elbow is more in front of the abdomen as he goes down to P6, and his club face is slightly open. The club face, which is slightly open, will be closing through impact using a counterclockwise rotation of both of the forearms. Ernie's forearms are rolling over, and there's a lot of club face rotation through the impact area. Ernie's club exits higher than Matt's club. Ernie's shots will tend to curve more than Matt's shots because of the faster rate of closure of the club face through the impact area, and he can choose to play either a draw or a fade as his standard shot. Here's Eric Cogorno and Kevin Roman discuss the throw versus the twist release in this YouTube video. Kevin Roman is out in California at the Monterey Golf Course. Eric Cogorno and Kevin Roman have another video called Golf, Upright Backswing versus Flat Backswing. And again, Kevin did study under Jim Hardy. And Eric Cogorno also has a video called Golf, Throw Release versus Flip Release. Eric prefers to keep some extension of the right wrist through to impact, and then the right wrist can move from flexion to extension with that throw type of release. One interesting point, according to Jim Hardy, one-plane swingers should use the RIT release and in general should avoid the LOP release. However, a two-plane swinger could use either the LOP release, which is the most common one, or they could use the RIT release. So an example of that would be Jim Furyk, who is a two-plane swinger with the left arm way above the shoulder plane at the top of the backswing. However, Jim Furyk uses the RIT release instead of the LOP release. Jim Furyk's exit is low and left, characteristic of the RIT release. One more interesting point, if you happen to be a two-plane swinger whose right shoulder comes out too soon and you cut across the ball from out to in and hit slices like many amateur golfers do, it is very likely that the Plane Truth instructors would change you to a one-plane swinger. Your tendency as a two-plane slicer is to use your right side more and swing to the left. But if you switch to a one-plane swing with an RIT release, you can still favor using your right side and continue to swing to the left while minimizing your slice curvature. And you can check out this YouTube video by Jeffrey Mann, Critical Review, analyzing Jim Hardy's release actions. This includes comments from the Golf Machine book. And hopefully you'll have some time to do this because it's 2 hours and 34 minutes long. That's what happens when you get a professor talking. Jeff Mann does say that lower hands that address and impact with the RIT release may be an advantage for accuracy with the irons due to a lower rate of club face closure. And he also thinks that higher hands that address and impact may be an advantage for speed and distance with the driver, while potentially giving up some accuracy due to a more rapid rate of club head closure through impact as you kind of rotate those forearms over. Jeff Mann also mentioned that an arched left wrist in the downswing can help to square up the club face earlier and decrease the rate of closure of the club face through impact. There's John Rahm on the right side there. And so you might consider buying Jim Hardy's book on the release so that you can learn the details about different release patterns in the golf swing and decide if it could help your game. Thanks for watching. This is Stephen Vig in San Antonio, and it's January 2024.